Talk about root beer.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
So speaking of small issues, something that was going down last week was net neutrality. And
Yeah, that nightmare.
yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? I'm curious what your take is. And just for anyone watching that if for some reason you're not aware, you're confused about it, I believe the situation is that there were some regulations that the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, established some number of years ago that prohibited some behaviors on the part of internet service providers, the kinds of behaviors that might make preferential service to people that might be paying more or to companies that might be paying more, that would affect the way we can access or that everyone can access the internet and use it's basically a classic a regulatory control trying to interrupt the possibility of a free market that might not necessarily be a fair market, and that's what's in play: free market versus fair market. And in the pursuit of a fair market, if a free market might not create one naturally, how do we govern it? How do we regulate it? Is it a government job? Is it so? These rules were in place years ago, between 2 and 6 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
From the FCC, and the new FCC dude is attempting to dismantle those rules and go to a more free market approach to internet service.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I don't think
these are real. This is like real stuff. You know, you got freedom versus fairness.
Yeah. Well, it to me it comes down to what is the internet supposed to be and what. Because I actually don't even mind solutions that are a la carte. If all you do is IM people and Skype people, like that's what my mom does, for example, and she wants to spend because
Skype is a lot different than IM because videos.
Sorry,
involved.
well, there's like social. If the FCC, well, not the FCC, but like Comcast or Verizon or someone who's offering you internet service, your internet service on your phone might be a social networking plan or something. So Twitter, Skype, whatever. But you can't watch online video or download anything. And there's a lot of things that fall through the cracks of that because I don't think you can divide the internet into 15 things and a la carte them out and say you get this. I don't know. It feels scary and confusing, and everyone is running around like their heads are on fire because of what could happen. And Comcast, I believe, came out and they're like, that very much we're not going to do this. We know what it looks like, and it's like, well, you can do it, so. You can't just say trust me because you've already done this like with every other thing on the it's obviously fear, but they're not unfound fears.
Yeah.
This
it's
could
tricky.
Very much change everything overnight. Like if you're paying for Xbox games.
I felt like it. I don't know what happened, but over Thanksgiving weekend, my internet sucked on my phone. I'm like, did this shit already happen? What's going on here?
Yeah.
When is he pulling when is he throwing the switch on it?
Well, if they do, because a lot of people are calling their Congress people right now and saying, "Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Can you stop this?" And every time this has come up, if you go to Reddit right now, every single thread is net neutrality. We've stopped it every time, and I think there's still hope that we can stop it. To me, the internet is just one utility that does an infinite number of things, right? Like, I wouldn't mind it staying that. That would be good for me. Like as an online video producer.
Yeah.
That's really scary because that uses a ton of bandwidth.
That's the trick, right? Like without question, our industry, the video game industry, benefits from a consistent quality of service across as many customers as possible.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still like, so another thing too, full disclosure, Gearbox Publishing is a member of the ESA, cool. The Entertainment Software Association. Yeah. The ESA successfully campaigned with the United States government in order to be allowed to self-regulate for ratings purposes. There was a time when it wasn't clear whether or not video games would have to be, kept in brown paper sleeves and held behind the counter like pornography.
Well, that was challenged multiple times. Like once the ratings were even, it was the enforcement of them.
Before the establishment of the ESRB, it wasn't clear what was going to go down. There was a lot of fear. All the policymakers did not play video games, and we had the largest. They don't. We have. In fact, I believe we have the largest generation gap in the history of our species. Right, like when you think about generation gaps, like I know my grandparents believed that the music my parents listened to was going to bring about the downfall of Western civilization. They thought rock and roll music was the work of the devil, and
that happens every 10 years.
And that generation did a lot to suppress, ban, and censor a lot of music in that era. But even they understood the value of music; they just objected to the content. The generation gap we're faced with today, they don't even understand what a video game is. Like it's a completely, they've never played anything.
It's the same with Elvis all the way to Grand Theft Auto.
You think Trump's got a gamer tag? Like,
no, I don't. I refuse to believe. I'll jump out this window again.
But the thing is, I want to live in a world when without certainty, we will have a future president of the United States that has a gamer tag.
First of all, Obama was a gamer.
Was he?
Come on. No, I don't know. I feel like he had to have been. I was just trying to make a point that he's cooler than Trump, and you were remaining perfectly professional and moderate and being was he? Citation needed.
My problem is
I'm like, he played Rocket League.
I'm pretty apolitical.
No, I know.
But the neutrality issue affects me directly, and I am sincerely conflicted because honestly, I don't know. I don't know what would happen in either a completely free market world or a regulated world. We can see what's happened in a regulated world, and it's in many levels it's nice. There is a consistent quality of service, but I don't know what would happen in a free market world, and I'm both afraid of it, but also kind of inspired by it. Like generally speaking, I tend to be against regulation. Like I was really in favor of our industry being able to police itself. I hated the idea of the government saying, no, we're going to tell you what the ratings are. And I hate dealing with foreign governments where they do that, like in Germany or Australia. I think that's just because it feels like we can't be artists when we're dealing with those countries. And you and I have been in conversations where we've had to think about our art and our content in order to think about, okay, what's the implications of this if we launch the game in Japan or South Korea or Germany, right? And we've had to think about the art in the context of different foreign government rules. Now we're not ISPs, so we're only peripherally affected by this.
Well, give me a read here.
Yeah.
In a world where let's say, and let's just prepare ourselves. Let's be adults here. Let's say every nightmare goes down. Comcast gives you 100 hours a month for games. And if you go over it, you got to pay. That's the world. Let's say we get there. What do you think the chances of a new ISP sprouting up immediately that says flat rate $20 get you?
Yeah, I mean,
do you think the
why
free market will just create that?
I don't know. I mean, it could, but there's two possible consequences to bad business practices, right? When a business is providing a value and they're profiting from that value, but they're not operating with sufficient good faith, they're vulnerable to being to a new competitor that will operate in better good faith. Yeah. And when you're talking about a service, customers do not give a shit about. It's not like an identity thing, like, oh, I really like the shape of this car, or I really like the style of this entertainment. No, we're talking about a service here. So there's no brand loyalty. Like we're gonna use whatever's giving us the best quality service for the best price.
That's why we all shipped it from AOL back in the day.
That's right. That's right.
Hours.
We don't have any loyalty there. So on one level, there is that. But there have been times with certain industries where it's difficult for a new competitor to appear in a free market world where there are extremely powerful leaders. right? I'm like witnessing it right now a little bit, not a little bit. I'll actually say a lot. With I'm a big fan of electric power,
Right.
and I really wish we as a species and a culture would accelerate towards more electric power, more electric vehicles. But the folks that are in control of the automobile industry, traditionally, the powerful entities that make combustion vehicles have, not all of them, some of them have worked to suppress the growth and expansion of electric vehicles. And so it's an interesting case where a free market, the free market could favor the newcomer, but the free market can also favor the powerful. And if it's free, that means no one's coming in to referee this.
There was this great documentary film, gosh, it might have been 15 years ago now, called Who Killed the Electric Car, which was about how we figured this out in the late 80s, essentially, how to make an electric car, and how the automobile industry came after them so much that we just couldn't have this kind of technology.
Yeah.
And it's still happening now. There are certain cities you can have Tesla dealerships in.
Yeah.
We're not protecting people, guys. This is pretty obvious what is going on.
So what happens? Will it be competitors arrive? But the other option that we have if things go off the rails is the policy can always be created. It seems easier to create policy than to take it down. Well,
it used to be.
Well,
make a policy now seems
it's hard.
impossible.
It's hard to make policy.
Yes, it is.
But it's easier to make policy than to take policy down.
It's an amendment.
And it's the function of inertia.
Yeah.
Right. And everything has inertia, even ideas, even rules. Hey, this is a cool topic, but you want to take a call?
Yeah, we should. This is just